Hey guys, I figured I'd do a morning update. It's April 3rd, a Saturday. It's hard to remember now with quarantine what day it is. But I came out here early so the kids wouldn't be running around. And I wanted to show y'all what we've been working on. Yesterday we did probably like 10 trays of seeds, started new things for the garden. We did pumpkin, squash, cucumber, more tomatoes, bell peppers, beans, all sorts of stuff. I can't even remember. But here they are. And there's more over here. We did it all the way. Now, I just wanted to show you some things that are sprouting too, which is awesome. They're finally growing. This is some parsley. These are datil peppers. This is okra. These are loofah gourds. Now, a loofah gourd is something that you can grow for a sponge for your bath. You actually grow this massive gourd, and then when it dries, you peel the skin off, and there's your sponge. It's an actual loofah sponge. It's another way to be more self-sufficient. Now, a loofah gourd gets massive, so you can't have it in your regular garden. It would take over everything else. Also, a gourd is poisonous. And if you have a gourd in the same garden as your yellow squash or any kind of squash family items, the pollinators will like cross-pollinate them, and what will happen is that all of your squash and pumpkins and things like that will now become a gourd, and they will all be poisonous. You'll be able to tell because they won't look like they're supposed to. It won't be the right thing. They'll all look like weird gourds. So you don't want to do that. So if you're going to grow a gourd like the loofah squash, you've got to do it on the opposite side of your property, pretty far away, or on a totally different piece of property if you want to be extra safe. And anyway, back to the garden. I'll post a picture in a minute of the chickens destroying my herb garden and eating all of my radishes. It looks like worms attacked them, but no, it was the chickens. But here's some of the radishes. And oh, you've got to see the morning dew. I love coming out here this early because the dew is beautiful and you can hear all the birds and all of the kids are sleeping. So it's like my little happy place. But look at this leaf. Isn't that cool how it made drops on the outside? Okay, these are icicle radishes and they are spicy as a you know what. I've also got regular radishes. This is a rainbow radish gourmet mix I planted. Is it non-GMO? I have no idea. This is something that I do just for fun. Most of my other plants, like the majority of everything I grow, is non-GMO, heirloom and organic seeds because I'm really particular about that. The whole point of this garden is to not have GMOs and to not put pesticide and Roundup and nasty stuff in our bodies, but sometimes you have a little fun when you can and you add some extra fun colors. Okay, here's a red radish. This is a basil plant. The pollinators come to it all the time. They love this thing. So the sun must not have hit the beehives yet because there's no bees out here yet, and that's what wakes them up is the sun hitting their hive. But that little basil thing was like a twig in a pot. It looked miserable, and I put it in here a couple weeks ago to see what would happen. It's getting huge. I'm going to show y'all a chocolate mint and how it's taking over the whole garden. This is chocolate mint. It has arms coming out because it's spreading all over the place. Do you see this? This is called mojito mint, and it's spreading like crazy too. I hear a little girl coming. This is some cilantro. here's our lavender. Now, this isn't my favorite type of lavender. It's one I picked up at Ace Hardware. I get a few things there because they keep local stuff, like stuff that'll grow in our climate, in stock. But lavender doesn't really like Florida, let's be honest. But I picked this one up. It's a new variety. I've never tried it before. I'm not a big fan. It's called Fernleaf Lavender. And it doesn't have a wonderful smell. I mean, like, I can kind of smell it, but it's not as strong as some of the other varieties. Our broccoli, for some reason, always gets really, really tall. So, I don't know if you can see. I have to put them in tomato cages. If I don't put them in tomato cages, they fall over and then we won't get any broccoli. This is a rosemary bush, another thing I got at Ace. I think I paid like $3, maybe $4 for this rosemary. It was like this big in a little tiny pot, and I put it in here about a month ago, and it's huge, huge. This is called black-seeded Samson. It's a type of Bibb lettuce, and it's supposed to be a little more heat tolerant than other types of lettuce, but it's still not doing very well out here because it's so hot. I mean, it was 100 degrees last weekend in March, so whatever. You know, I'm trying to grow lettuce, but it's 100 degrees. We also are growing a Paris Island lettuce. I can't get to it easily. Here's one. It looks like a romaine. The Paris Island is great for right after Christmas in Florida to plant it, or you could probably even grow it through Christmas. It just loves that our winter climate down here. The Bibb probably is the same. It's, again, the black-seeded Samson. They're both organic heirloom varieties. We also have a ton of kale growing, but I can't really get in there. Here's one kale plant that I've already picked and had an entire meal for my family off this one plant, and now it is almost ready to pick again. But these things are awesome. Here's the kale. I have about 8 broccoli plants right here, and the way that I'm growing them, they're far enough apart that it's going to be fine. So it's taking up, you know, kind of the idea of square foot gardening. You put as many as you can in one area. And then here's my onions. I might actually pick all of these today. They're getting so big. I didn't weed around the onions because I didn't want to pull them out of the ground. And the weeds aren't hurting them. The onions are getting their nutrients from the soil. And then they're topped, you know, we're getting the photosynthesis and the sunlight. So the weeds down in the dirt, it's not bothering them, and I didn't want to mess up the onions. Here's a broccoli that's almost ready to pick. We had an issue with worms, so I had to use organic stuff to kill the worms, but now it's getting happy. And here's a couple of our tomatoes. This tomato has grown a foot in 2 days. A foot in 2 days. These are some yellow tomatoes that I'm growing this year. No, not quite ready. If it was ready, it would have popped right off when I touched it like that. Okay, let's go check out the beans and corn and squash that I started. Now, the beans haven't come out yet because it's only been a couple days and they take about a week to sprout, sometimes 10 days. But the corn and squash are looking really, really good. Here they are. This is a yard-long bean. I'm sure it's full of GMO. My mom bought this in a pack at Ace. We love Ace. Because she thought it'd be fun to have beans that were a yard long, which is kind of awesome. The kids will probably love it, and it's weird, and I've never seen it before, so it'll be fun. This is it right here. That's the yard long bean, and it's already trying to go up the fence. These are some peas, non-GMO peas. We did the peas, and this is a bushing bean. We did them from seed. They're heirloom organics. And the peas will climb up the fence. That's why I put them there. They'll climb right up that fence. And this bushing bean will just get like a little above my knee high right here. And then what'll happen is I've got two nice plants in the same area. So it's saving space, and I'm getting more of a crop. Because you want to put your runners next to a fence and you're bushing out in front of it. And that way you can pick both at the same time. And these are some watermelon plants that we did for fun. And, you know, crazy enough, you can grow watermelon on a fence. We did it last year. And when the melons start to grow, you take like an old piece of cloth or something and you tie them to the fence, and it holds them up so they don't break off the vine and they can fully develop. It's kind of cool. I'll show you guys all the fruit trees another day. Y'all get out there and get growing. I've got a guy coming to till up my yard for me. There's this nice prepper down the road. He just showed up yesterday and was like, hey, you want a victory garden? I'm digging victory gardens for everybody in the neighborhood. And I was like, okay. And sure enough, he did one for one of my neighbors, and now he's coming over here today, and he's gonna dig us a big spot to put in some more corn and everything else, and it's gonna be awesome. So I'll have to post pics for you guys later. Get growing.